Do you take your dog to local secure dog fields or dog parks where you can let your dogs go off and have a nice good run, play with other dogs, chase a ball or do whatever it is your dog enjoys doing? We use dog fields too. We've got some down the road. We travel some of them that are in the next county. You've got some that are designed to look like a field. You've got some that have got agility equipment in, and you've even got some in a local county called Suffolk that's got one designed to look like your own private beach. And we do take the dogs there. It means that we can just go and walk and have a nice time. Each of my dogs, I have 3, and they can all do what they like to do. Aero likes to play with her puller toy. She likes to run around. She likes to chase a ball. Merlin likes to have a good old sniff about and a mooch about and see what there is to cock his leg up against. And Ripley likes to have a bit of a walk around, then she'll have a little bit of a rest. Then she'll have a little bit of a sniff about and likes to do her own little thing at her own pace. So a dog field is great for that because they can all do their own thing in our space. We haven't got to worry about us interrupting anyone else or anyone else coming into our space. Have you considered that your dog could benefit from having a warm-up when they first arrive at that dog field before they go off lead, running around, chasing toys, doing whatever it is that your dogs enjoy doing? A warm-up, I hear you ask? Yes, warm-ups. Warm-ups for dogs are really, really crucial. It helps prepare the body for activity, for exercise, for movement, and it can also help the body be prepared to repair itself, to heal, and just to settle back to how it should be once they've finished that exercise. So to give an example, if you've driven 20 minutes to get to a dog field that you particularly want to go to, and then we let our dogs out of the car, and the first thing that they do is go through the gate into that secure field, and they go and have a big old runabout. You might well throw a ball for them to chase. They may well just go out with your other dogs and they run around together, they play, they jump around. All of that on a cold body. So the circulation isn't going, the muscles are cold, tendons and ligaments, they still need to be stretched a little bit to warm up. The joints might be a little bit stiff where they've been laying down somewhere in your car, and suddenly they've got impact, they've got movement, they've got sharp turns, they've got moving and stopping. Lots and lots going on, and that's a lot for a dog's body to cope with. But my dog's been doing this for years, they're always fine. Yes, they're always fine until they are not. Now, it is known within the dog community, within veterinary communities, it's known within specialists in osteoarthritis, arthritis for dogs, that you can help your dog by preparing their body for activity. So let's do that. So what I've done for you here is giving you our top 5 really easy foundation warm-up exercises for your dogs that you can do at any dog park, any dog field without needing any equipment whatsoever. So why am I telling you what things that we could be doing to help our dogs with their bodies? I'm Jo Nutkins, I'm a certified professional canine fitness trainer, and I have been doing this since 2015. I also have the level 1 certification with the Canine Arthritis Management, certification in kinesiology taping for dogs, as well as the certificate in applying photobiomodulation, which you might also know as FOTISO, and red light therapy. So it's really, really important to me that I can get this message out to as many dog owners as possible. Whether your dog is a puppy, a teenager, an adult dog, or a senior dog, they can all be helped either for now or for their future by helping protect that body. It takes seconds to do some of these exercises, but actually can make all the difference. So first of all, we're going to have a look at some twist and spins, but we're going to do them really, really slowly, really, really controlled. Treat goes on your dog's nose and guide them in a circle, one direction or the other. Don't be tempted to go super speedy, even if your dog can do this. This is a warm-up. We want your dogs to go nice and steady. Part of this is to stretch the body out, part of it is to get them moving. So start with Merlin. We don't want him up on his back legs, so treat on the nose. And we're going to go into a nice circle and reward, good boy, and then in the opposite direction and reward, what a clever lad. We're going to do this next with Ripley. So into a stand first, good girly, round one way, and then round in the other way. There's a very good girly, and I'm going to do it with Aero as well. So if your dog isn't already standing up, you need them standing for this. So if they are sitting or laying down, bring a treat to your dog's nose and just lure them forward to get that bum off of the floor. And we're just going to then do quite a wide twist and spin with Aero. She's got that much longer body than the other guys. Aero, is there? Do you spin? What a clever girl. What a clever girl. Yes, you are. So, twists and spins are our very first exercise to help warm your dog up for the dog park. Keep it nice and slow. We want to do a few in each direction. You don't have to do lots and lots and lots. So, I would say for the majority of dogs, once they're standing, we can go in both directions, maybe 3 to 5 times. A couple more if you feel that your dog has had rest for a long time, if you've driven somewhere for a while. And like I say, make sure you keep that treat nice and low. Even if your dog likes to be on their back legs, if they're cold, we don't want them using those back legs too much. So our second exercise is going to be some nose touches. Now with a nose touch, what we're looking at is a little bit of a weight shift, and as your dog is doing the touches to your hand, they will be slightly moving their weight from side to side. What this does is very, very gently starts getting the muscles to engage, which is warming them up without any impact whatsoever. It's also helping things like the tendons and the ligaments start to elongate and move and soften up, and it's also helping the joints to start having a little bit of movement. Now there's a couple of ways of doing this depending on your dog, what they've learnt before. We want them to do a nose bop onto your hand. So you can either open your hand and show them if they've done that before, or you can have the treat closed in your hand, and when they go to sniff, they'll make contact. All right, so I'm going to have my dogs in peekaboo, which is this middle position right here, because that makes it easier for me. And all I'm going to do is I've got the treat in my hand, touch, good boy. That's a good boy. Touch, good lad. And he's just doing a little turn of the head in one direction and then the other. And as he's doing that, as he turns one way, he's shifting the weight on one side, and then when he turns the head the other, he shifts the weight on the other. So you can do it with just luring with a treat like so, but we don't really want the whole body to move. Can you back up, please? Good boy. Like so. There's a good boy. Yeah. And that's why I have them in this middle position. So I'll show you that with Ripley from behind. Rip chop. So from here, if I turn, you can just about make out where her tail turns as well. That's showing how the weight is shifting. There's a good girly. Okay, so really, really nice and simple, really, really nice and basic. They can be standing, they can be sitting. That is entirely up to you and your dog. Aero, come round. Good girl. So Aero, I'm going to do this in front. So she's sitting here. Aero, touch. Good girl. And touch. Good. So really, really nice and gentle with this. If I do this with the treat as if she's new to it, touch, treat, good girl, and touch and treat. What a clever girl. Very nice. So that's our second exercise. That is nose touches to the side. You want your dog's head to be quite neutral, so don't get them to be looking up and doing this. They want to be turning their head from side to side. They can be standing, they can be sitting. You can do this from between your legs, or you can have your dog in front of you, facing you, side on, etc. And again, repetition-wise, left and right touches is a set, and so you can get away with around 3 to 6 sets of these. So our third exercise, we're going to look at some good old-fashioned paw. Give paw, shake paw, whatever you want to call it for your dogs. So we're going to start with our dog in front, sitting or standing. If your dog isn't that comfortable in a sit, they can do this from a stand, no problem. And all we're asking for, with them nice and central in front, bring your hand quite low, so you're lower than the shoulder height of each dog you're working. Paw, just for a second, good boy, and paw. Good boy. You like paws, don't you? Paw, good boy, and paw. Good. There's a good boy. That's nice. If you have a dog that doesn't like to sit and you want to do it from a stand, do still be aware that you need to keep your hand quite low for them. So Ripley's standing, good girl, and paw. Good. The higher up your hand is to give the paw, paw, good girl. The more they're going to have to reach up, the more they're going to put pressure on the back end. And actually it's not a great exercise if your dog's having to overwork themselves. You stand, Ripley? Stand. Good girl. Ripley, paw. Yes, good girl. And paw. Good girl. Very nice. What a good girl. Arrow. Now, if your dog doesn't know how to give paw, we can help them out with that. So, Arrow, sit. There's a good girl. There's a couple of things you can do. One of the easiest ways is to literally run your hand from your dog's shoulder down the leg and lift the paw. It was in the wrong place. There's a good girl. Again, you don't want to be lifting it too high. So even though Arrow's got quite long legs, I'm only going to lift a small amount if I was doing this absolutely brand new. Good boy. Down the shoulder first. Paw. Good girl. We start with the shoulder because that way there's no surprise when I reach that foot. If you suddenly grab for the foot, most dogs will wrench it away. So we start with the shoulder so they know what's coming, and what you should start finding is as you start to go down the leg, they'll then start lifting their paw up in anticipation, don't you? This paw? Arrow? Which paw? Yes, good girl. She says, what? And then we start asking for it by showing a hand and paw. Yes, what a good girl. Very clever. So our third exercise to help warm your dog up is to give paw, and as with the first two exercises, a left paw and a right paw makes a set. And again, we want each set to be done around 3 to 6 times. So our fourth exercise is the good old sit to stand. Now a sit to stand is only good as a warm up if your dog hasn't got known issues with their rear end. If your dog has got issues with their knees or with their hips, then you might not want to be encouraging too many sits to stands, but instead you could be asking them to do a bit of walking and then stopping, walking and stopping. If your dog is okay and is happy to sit and finds sitting reasonably easy, then that makes it a nice exercise. So what we're going to do is ask our dogs to go into a sit for a second or two, and then bring the treat down to the nose and bring forward to get that stand that you couldn't see because Ripley's in the way. So into a sit, good girl. Treat goes down to the nose, bring forward, good girl. Into that nice stand, okay? You don't have to be standing over your dog if you've got small dogs like I have, but you can of course be on the floor if you prefer. Merlin, sit and stand, good boy. And Ripley, sit, good, and stand. Yes, very nice. Arrow, what a good girl. Come on then. An Arrow, sit, good girl. An Arrow, stand, good girl. Make sure the bum is coming up each time, that they're not just doing some sort of half curtsy. There's a good girlie. An Arrow, stand. Yes, good girl. Very nice. So our fourth exercise is sits to stands. If your dog has got some issues with their hips, their lower back, with their knees, etc., we don't want to overdo sits because actually we're putting a lot of pressure on the joints. So instead of doing that, what we can ask them to do is standing, and ask them just to walk a bit and then stand still, and do that a few times instead. So our last exercise to help warm your dogs up before they do exercise at the dog park is something that looks a little bit like a say prayers. We're going to encourage our dogs to bring their heads down and quite close to their front paws. Now we're going to ask them to do this just from standing regularly, but if you do happen to have a piece of equipment where you're taking your dog, you can use this if you wanted to get them elevated slightly. And that's why we've made this the fifth of the exercises. So what we're doing, again, we want our dogs to stand. So once they're standing, we're going to bring a treat underneath the body, behind the front legs like so. So our dog leans forward as Merlin's just done there. I'll show you that from different angles, and I will of course show you that with an Arrow as well. So I'll get Ripley here with one treat, and then the second treat is going to go is going to go under the legs. There's a good girl. So you've got that nice little curve over the body. Okay, really hard to see with you two. You're too tiny. Right, you go over there. You go over there. Arrow boo. Ripley, go find Arrow. So Arrow makes this a little bit easier. From that lovely stand, I'm going to go under the body here, between the front legs as she looks down, and that's what we're looking for. Okay, and again, I'll do this from a different angle. Eraboo, Ripley, go over there, please. Good. So, nice stand. Treat comes under the body. Good girl. Lift your head up, please. Lift your head. So I'm under here, yeah, on between the legs, and that gets her to put her nose between her legs. Now, if you want to do this elevated, then you can have your dogs up on a small surface, nothing too high, or if they can do paws onto your arm, then you're welcome to ask them to do paws up and then bring the treat underneath so that they do that just for a moment. The idea is that we're getting a nice bit of a stretch through the body here, like so. We're also doing a little bit of weight shifting, because as our dog brings the head down, we're using some weight shifting on that front end, and then when they lift the head up, it goes to the back end again. So it's a nice gentle exercise still, and then that gives us our 5th exercise. So 5 exercises to give you something to work on when you reach the dog field. Literally a few repetitions of each of these, and then your dogs can be off running, chasing toys, whatever it is they enjoy doing, but their body is now ready for that activity. So what did you think? If you enjoyed and you're going to have a go, please let me know. You can pop a like on the video, or you can leave a comment to let me know. Did you enjoy? Are these things that you can do with your dogs? Would you like to know more? And I will obviously help any way that I possibly can. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy going out with your dogs and help them out just that little bit more for their future. And I'm Jo Nutkins, and I run dog training for Essex and Suffolk, which is both in person and online. And we not only cover pet dog training, but we also help people with their dogs of any age, any breed, to work on their fitness, their conditioning and their strengthening, again for now and for their future. So if you could do with a bit of a help with your dogs, if you feel they need a little bit of strengthening work, if you feel that your senior dog might need a little bit of extra help as they're starting to slow down a tiny bit, if you've noticed that your teenage dog actually could do with having some extra work to keep them focused, if you're finding that when it's a really hot day your dog still wants to do lots of things but you're not too sure what you can do to keep them occupied without overexerting them, come and turn to Canine Fitness and Canine Conditioning, because actually there's a lot we can do, and a lot of it's fun, nearly all of it's fun, and it will all be benefiting your dog as well.